Hello again, my fellow classmates. Um, so I'm here to present the quotes that I've chosen for this week's module. The first two are from Chapter 9. The first quote I selected from Chapter 9 was, "Simple, clear communication promotes simple, clear collaboration." And that was from Susan Daughtry. She's a leader at General Motors. I think what she's trying to say here is that if you want things to go smoothly, you need to ensure that you're communicating in a way that is simple. The more complex we make it, the easier it is for the details to get lost in the mix. And so I think that it's important to remember that simple works best. What this means to me is just kind of a reminder to not get caught in the details and make sure that I'm giving my messages in a way that it makes the most sense. The second quote that I chose for Chapter 9 is, "Group members are interdependent. What one group member says or does affects other group members." And I think what the authors are trying to say here is that it's important to be aware of the messages that you're giving in a group. And not only your verbal messages, but also your nonverbal messages. If you're constantly on your phone or looking at the clock or looking out the windows, the people in your group know that you're not focused. And when you're in a group situation, oftentimes it's important, in order for the group to work effectively, that everyone be paying attention. So I think what this means to me is just kind of being aware, thinking about what you say before you say it, because some people are more sensitive than others. I'm one of those people. I'm pretty direct and not super sensitive, so I always have to be hyper aware of the fact that not everybody operates that way. Moving on to Chapter 10, the first quote that I chose for Chapter 10 was, "Meet only when you have a reason." And I think what the authors are saying is that don't hold unnecessary meetings. They're annoying and they're unproductive. What that means to me, and kind of what I take away from it, I currently work at a place where we have a ton of meetings that don't need to be held. I have a boss who is significantly older. He's in his 70s, and he's kind of old-fashioned, and he thinks that having meetings is the best way that everybody knows what's going on. And while I think that is important, I think that if he would use some other forms of media, like email and things like that, we would be able to get more done in a productive fashion. Another thing that he does not use that I think would really help is a meeting agenda. I know that earlier we read about the concept of managing up, and I've considered letting him know that I would be more than happy to make an agenda for his meetings, because I feel like maybe if I did that, it might help things be a little less chaotic and unstructured. We will literally sit in his office for an hour, and he'll repeat himself probably about 9 to 10 times. And so I think maybe having an agenda could help him to focus. The second quote that I chose for Chapter 10 is that meetings should not consist of a monologue from the meeting leader or be dominated by just a few participants. And I think what the authors are trying to say here is that meetings should be inclusive. Even the quietest person has value to add to the meeting. And every if the people who are comfortable talking, which I happen to be one of those, do all the talking, then the ideas don't come from everyone. And I think that you get a more diverse group of ideas when the group is more inclusive and everybody participates. Even if that means I have to look at you and say, "Oh, I haven't heard from you. What do you think?" So that's kind of what it means to me, and that's kind of what I take away from it is, as somebody who is comfortable being a, being in the speak mode, I should encourage others to do so. Or when I notice that someone hasn't spoken up, I could reach out to them and say, "Hey, well, what do you think?" So that's kind of what I took away from that this week. Once again, those are my quotes for the week. I hope you all have a very nice night, and I'll see you again next week.